The main items that are imported into each of your pre-existing client files are the financial statements and our mapping structure. The financial statements and mapping structure are directly connected to both the Keystone and master templates and help create consistency throughout the firm. The process of importing these items into your client files is very simple. You will first open your client's caseware file that you wish to bring the template into. Next, you will click on File and Copy Components. From here, we want to select Copy into this file only. You will then browse to the location of the master template on your server. Upon selecting the template, you'll be given a list of importable items to choose from. We can see that by default, Caseware has selected all of the items on the list. We will instead select the following components. The two items we need to select are documents and groupings and mapping. Once the documents have been selected, the list of available items becomes visible on the right. The first thing you should always do when importing the financial statements into your client files is to confirm that the library files found at the bottom of the list, here, are not checked off. An easy method to make sure that none of these items are selected is by choosing the main checkbox found at the top of the list, which will then select every file listed. Once you see that every file is selected, click the box a second time, which then deselects the items. You can now be certain that none of the Do Not Copy files have been selected without your knowledge. Once that has been done, you may then select the documents that you require for the client file. Please keep in mind that if you do forget to import a document listed, you can always follow the steps previously mentioned and import the file at a later time. To keep things straightforward, we will just import the financial statements into the client file. Once that is selected, we can then move on to the mapping. In order to use our statements effectively, the KeystoneTemplates mapping structure must also be brought into the client file. Once you've clicked on the mapping checkbox, you are given several options boxes to choose from. The one we need to focus on is the first one here. After clicking it, another dialog box opens with some further choices. We can now see two items to choose from at the top, Replace or Merge. The Replace option should be used with any client file that you're bringing the mapping structure into for the first time. It will of course override your existing mapping structure, placing ours in its place. The Merge function is used if we add new mapping numbers to the master template that you wish to use. By choosing Merge, our existing mapping numbers will remain in your client file, and the new ones we've created will then be added to the file. In most cases, you will only be selecting the Replace option for your files. Once you've made your selection, the next step is to click on Remap. If you are a new client, you may have already mapped your client files to another mapping database. Rather than delete the work that you've done and start over again, Caseware allows you to convert from one mapping database to another. If you have used the mapping provided by either Caseware or another template company, please let us know, as we can dramatically simplify the process of switching over to our mapping. If you have created your own mapping database, then we must continue using the Caseware Remap function. After hitting Remap, you will then see a window similar to the mapping dialog window that you may have previously used. The difference in this case is that your existing mapping structure appears on the left, where the new Keystone mapping appears on the right. You will simply start to drag and drop the items from the left to the right until all items are assigned. Once you have finished the list, you'll click OK and OK once more. Before continuing, one important item still needs to be completed on this window. At the bottom of the options, we see a box that states Set as Default. After completing the remapping of your accounts, clicking this button will then set all of your new mapping choices as default options. This of course means that once you've set this option as default, any items with the same properties as previous will then automatically be moved into their new mapping structures. It's important to note that upon using our template for the first time, it is common that you will complete the remapping in your first 10 to 20 files. As you progress through each of your new client files, the list of unmapped accounts found on the left-hand window will slowly decrease until you no longer have any items present each time you import the mapping into a new client file. Now that both the financial statements have been selected and your mapping structure is completed, we can continue with the import process. You will simply click on Next, then Next once again, and now we can select Finish to allow the importing process to complete. A prompt window will appear once the process is complete, letting you know that the statements that you have imported have been placed at the top of the document. You can, of course, move these wherever you see fit. The importing process is now complete. We can now open our statements and see that all numbers in the trial balance that have been mapped to our structure are now present. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, as new videos will be added often detailing new or existing features of the template. Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter @KSTemplates, as well as visit our website at KeystoneTemplates.com.